Hello and welcome to FPL Matey, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2021-22 season. My name is Dan and today I am giving you my weekly squad update. Now, a few things have changed because obviously there's been a few transfers around the Premier League. I'm not going to name any names. Aston Villa, you know what you're up to, signing all those players and selling them to. It's changed a lot. It's changed the dynamic of a lot of things, which means there has been changes to my team, which I'm going to talk about in great detail, and hopefully you're going to enjoy this, find this really useful. Guys, if you do find this video useful or helpful, whatever, please do leave a like. It massively helps out the channel. And of course, please do subscribe as well if you're new around here, because I know like 60% of you watching this video right now are not subscribed. Come on, guys. I've checked the stats. Get subscribed and get that advantage over your mates by watching these videos. But without further ado, I'm going to show you my team that has no Bruno Fernandes in. It is, just having no Bruno saves you so much money. It really is great. Another great way to save money is with this video sponsor, Pouch. So Pouch is a free desktop browser extension that automatically finds and applies the best discount codes that you might not know about when you're shopping online. So for example, say I'm shopping for some football boots. Those Preds are looking rather spicy, but a bit pricey. Good job I have Pouch installed. It automatically pops up, lets me know how many discount codes it has found and applies the best one to save me the maximum amount of money. So I just saved £46 without having to do anything whatsoever. So Pouch works on over 3,000 UK sites from ASOS and JD Sports all the way to like Tesco, and that's more than any other similar browser extension in the UK. If you had a browser extension that allowed you to get 20% off of Trent Alexander-Arnold in FPL, you'd absolutely do it, wouldn't you? Can you imagine 6 million for Trent Alexander-Arnold? That'd be such a cheat code. So why treat your real life money, your real life bank balance any differently? It's an absolute no-brainer. It's completely free. It only takes a couple of clicks to install. The first click being this link here, which is also at the top of the video description. Doing so supports the channel, but more importantly, supports your wallets. So what are you waiting for? Get Pouch now. Come on. So, okay, let's start from the goalkeeper and work our way all the way down to the strikers and the bench, and then we'll finish off with some captains, I think. We're going to start you off in goal with Sanchez. This hasn't changed at all for weeks, so I feel like I'm pretty much stuck on this one, which is good. I feel like, you know, when you spend weeks and weeks on one team, when one player seems to be in every single team, that's probably a very good sign that they should absolutely stay in your team unless anything drastic happens. Now, we do know that Lewis Dunk is back in training for Brighton, which is going to boost Brighton's defensive capabilities a little bit. I do have a little bit more confidence in that one, and we just know that the fixtures that Brighton have are absolutely amazing. So certainly pre-first wild card, we are going to want just a nice, safe, cheap goalkeeper who can just tide us over until we can identify the next big thing on our wild card. But yeah, that's definitely going to work for me very well. It's a safe pick, it's a cheap pick, and we can spend all our money on the rest of the team. So let's do that. Starting off in defence with Trent Alexander-Arnold, a nice big heavy hitting defender. Once again, a player who has never left any of my drafts. Another one of those essential players, if you like. Certainly in my team, from where I'm sitting, he is an essential player because there's just no way I go without him. You know, in the second half of the season, he was scoring so many points. He was getting so many, clean sheets, being so creative. He was absolutely on fire. We've obviously got Liverpool with all these new defensive signings, or, you know, I say all these new defensive signings, really, I mean, one new centre-back and a load of players coming back into fitness, which is going to feel like they've got a whole new back line. So it's most likely going to be a Matip and Konate to start, but what an improvement that is compared to last season where they were kind of having to play Fabinho, Jordan Henderson at times, and a lot of the youth players in that defence. Now, they've got the defence back, so Liverpool are going to get back to getting clean sheets, which gives me a very good reason to double up and go for Robertson. Robertson has kind of been in and out of my drafts over the past month, so he has definitely been one of the players that I'd quite like to have, but haven't always found a way of fitting him in. Now, I think because of the situation changing a little bit in the forwards department, that kind of maybe has convinced me to go for Robertson, and maybe me downgrading a little bit in midfield has allowed me to go for Robertson as well, because I'm seeing more and more people investing quite heavily in their defence, So much so that a lot of people are going 4 at the back formations. I still do prefer a 3 at the back formation, only just. But I don't blame anyone if they do want to go for a 4-4-2 or something like that. There's certainly a lot of appeal in a 4-4-2. So yes, Robertson has come in to add a little bit of a premium, a bit more premium to that defence. Obviously, if I change my mind, I can downgrade Robertson to a 5.5. A 5 million, 4.5 million defender, and that gives me loads of money to upgrade midfield, bring in another premium or something like that. So that would be the player who's downgraded, Robertson, because, do you really want to double up on Liverpool's defence all season? Maybe, maybe not, but certainly for the beginning of the season where we've got these really nice fixtures, Norwich, Burnley, even Chelsea, from a defensive point of view, Chelsea at home, there's every chance that's a 0-0 or a 1-0 to either side. So there could genuinely be clean sheets there as well. So really nice fixtures for Liverpool there. And we're going to finish off the defence with Luke Shaw at 5.5 million. I think that's just such a good price. I think Shaw is one of the most underpriced players in the whole game this year. If Shaw was 6 million, I would still probably be picking him. If he was 6.5 million, I think that would be the point where I'd start saying, not sure whether to take Shaw or not. So for 5.5 million, really, really, really good price for him. So that's why he's in so many drafts. He's in pretty much 50% of all teams. He's another player that I do think is essential. A lot of people are wondering, is he going to be fit? Is he not going to be fit for the beginning of the season? Right now, it looks like he is going to be ready for game week 1. It looks pretty confident. It looks pretty sure that he's going to be ready for game week 1. So yeah, you can have a little bit of confidence there. Obviously, we'll find out a little bit more nearer the time. We can always make a last minute change. A sideways move to Wan-Bissaka or something like that would be pretty easy to do. But certainly for now, Shaw looks like he's going to be playing in game week 1. So let's move into midfield, starting off with Mo Salah, another player who has been in every single one of my drafts. He's going nowhere. Don't need to talk about that too much. He's an absolutely essential player. I would make sure, guys, that every one of you has Salah. Don't overthink it. And, against Norwich and Burnley, such good fixtures. That's going to be really nice. And then we've got Son, who has been in a few more of my recent teams. I think with Kane potentially leaving, I think that could actually make Son better if Kane isn't there anymore. Can you imagine Son playing as the main striker every single game? On penalties as well. It's going to be so good. And I know a lot of people look at this Man City game and think, oh, that's a little bit scary. But I don't actually think it's that scary at all, really, because Son has a really good record against Man City. He has an even better record playing against Man City as the main central striker. Son can score wonder goals. He can score from anywhere. He can really, score on such low XG. He doesn't really need too much of an opportunity to score a goal. So he is going to be playing striker in this game because it's very, very unlikely that Kane is going to play, even if he is still at Spurs. Who knows what's going to happen in that situation? We'll obviously deal with that nearer the time. But yeah, Son is going to be good. And, the fixtures after that are not too bad. So, I'm quite looking forward to seeing what Son can produce, really, as the main man at Spurs. Because I think it could be pretty big. I really do. I'm really excited about this one, for sure. And, not too many people are going for Son as well. Not too many people have confidence in Son. And for the second premium player, I think he's actually probably my favourite one to go for. So, in midfield, next we've got Greenwood. Now, Greenwood comes in to finally cover Bruno, because a lot of my issues with some of the drafts that I've been making recently is that I've been going without Bruno Fernandes, but I don't have any Manchester United attackers. Now, I'm not saying that Greenwood is going to cover all of Bruno's points. Obviously, that's not going to happen, but there is a very good chance that if Bruno was to get an assist, Greenwood would perhaps get the goal, and vice versa. Doesn't cover it completely, but it's pretty nice. At least I have something in the Man United attack. If Man United go out and score a few goals, I'm involved in that. I'm involved in that with Greenwood. And Greenwood is going to be playing in this Game Week 1 match against Leeds. And I'm very, very confident about this one. We've kind of got Sancho still not in training. Cavani still not in training. These guys are, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can't even confirm that they're going to be on the bench against Leeds. So it's going to be a slow easing in, I think, of both Sancho and Cavani. And Sancho and Cavani, those are the two players that play in Greenwood's position. So Greenwood is going to be covering for them in their absence. I don't know whether that's going to be for 1 game week, 2 game weeks, 3 game weeks, 4. Even more, I don't know how many games that Greenwood is going to last in the team, how quickly these other guys come back into the team. But To be fair, them coming back from pre-season so late, Cavani and Sancho, that does not look good. It's not a great look, to be honest. So, but Greenwood is going to take this opportunity for sure. We know when he plays, he can be absolutely incredible. We've seen it so many times before. So, really, let's see what he can produce in the first few game weeks, and then after he is, well, assuming he is phased out of the team, after that, he could hit massive form and do really well. He's such a high ceiling player. But assuming he is removed from the team, that's when we can start having a look at some other players. So, for example, we could take him down to maybe a Harvey Barnes. Let's see how Harvey Barnes fits into this new season Leicester side. How Leicester going to set up? Do Harvey Barnes or Maddison maybe? Do they have a good part to play? That they look like they're going to get some fantasy points? If so, downgrade Greenwood down to the 7 million of Barnes and Maddison. We can also look at Rafinha. Obviously, his fixtures are going to look a lot better after a few game weeks. He's at 6.5 million, so that's going to be another really easy transfer down. So there's quite a few options on, I guess, wait and see players that Greenwood actually transfers down quite nicely too. So for that reason, I'm not too worried about the long-term effects of Greenwood. What we do know is Greenwood is a very, very high-ceiling, heavy-hitting player when he does play. So we do know he's going to play at least in the first game, maybe a few games after that as well. He is going to have a decent amount of involvement. So yeah, why not take that little risk in this team? I don't see why you wouldn't go for a nice little risk like that. And then we're going to finish off the midfield with Jarrod Bowen, a player that I've been pretty much hyping up quite a lot in this pre-season, who I do really like the look of. He had a good pre-season. He is going to be playing at right wing. We know with European football, the West Ham are going to have that. Maybe Antonio's not going to be able to play 2 games a week. If he can't play 2 games a week, Bowen is going to become the main central striker for those games where Antonio is absent. So let's see what happens there. There's definitely opportunities for Bowen to play as a striker and out-of-position player, but even if he isn't, I really do like him from the right-hand side. I think he's a really, really fabulous player, and I think he's just going to get better and better. And honestly, the start of this season, this run of fixtures, I really think that Bowen could be on for a really, really strong start to the season. I think he's going to be one of those surprise breakthrough players at the beginning of the season. So let's see what happens there, but he definitely has the potential to do that. So moving on up front into the forwards, we have got Danny Ings. How could I resist the new signing for Aston Villa? Now, this might just be the fact that he's just signed and I'm getting a little bit hyped about it, but to me, there is something so mouth-watering about a player with as much finishing ability, like a pure finisher, to have the supply of Buendia behind him, with Bailey, who's going to be coming into the team probably in a couple of weeks' time. There's so much lovely creativity around Danny Ings, whereas before when he was at Southampton, even when he scored his 22-goal season a couple of seasons ago, there wasn't a huge amount of creativity in that Southampton side. Maybe you'd say there's some creativity, James Ward-Prowse, etc., but not as much as they're clearly building at Aston Villa right now. And we've got a player like Buendia, who is literally one of the most creative players in world football. When he was last in the Premier League, I think he was like second for chances created behind KDB. So we've basically got mini KDB supplying Ings, one of the best finishers in the country. So that kind of looks so good to me. Now, obviously, I'm really curious to see how Aston Villa line up in their friendly match against Sevilla, which is tomorrow. So again, things can change after I've watched that game. But if Ings is playing as the main central striker, Watkins has a decent amount of creativity himself, to be fair, on the wing. Buendia in behind, Buendia maybe even playing on the right. I'm really interested to see how they set up. I do think that Watkins may be a kind of a non-option now, because I do think he will move to the wing, Watkins. But there's every chance that Aston Villa play with a two forwards formation. I'm not sure. Let's see. I don't know if they'll partner up Watkins with the pure finishing ability of Danny Ings as a 2-man strike force. Not really sure, because that would mean, I'm not really sure where everyone else would play. Would Buendia go to the left, or would Bailey go on the right? That doesn't really make sense. Would Bailey go on the left and Buendia on the right maybe? I don't know. Buendia doesn't really have that pace. Would you really need that pace? Matty Cash in behind? I don't know. Lots to think about, but I just want to see, basically, for myself with my own eyes, what is the formation that Aston Villa are going to go for, and how are they going to play? Because that's going to be so important into identifying how worthwhile Danny Ings is, and how worthwhile Watkins is as well. Because if Danny Ings is playing slightly behind Watkins, for example, then that actually makes Watkins a potentially even nicer option. But I do like Ings for his finishing ability, his pens. I'm hoping that he becomes the focal point in this Aston Villa attack. They paid 30 million for him, a 29-year-old, so you would hope that he would be. Let's see what happens there. Pretty excited to find out. We've next got Wilson, another player I've been hyping up all pre-season. He looks really, really positive. Some of the comments that he's been making, speaking about how positively Newcastle ended the season last year. We know what Wilson can do. His goals per game record is pretty good. We know that if Newcastle are scoring, Wilson's going to be involved. He's going to be the guy making the goal. He's going to be the guy finishing it off. He's going to be the guy taking the penalty. So there's so many avenues for Wilson to score in if Newcastle are scoring. So let's see. Newcastle obviously finished last season off really, really well. If they can start off this season how they finished off last season, if the positivity around the camp is still there, as it sounds like it is, then Wilson is very much going to be the main man and continue to just be the star of that team, because he looks head and shoulders above everyone else in that Newcastle team, and we know that what he is capable of. As long as he can stay injury free, he's just an incredible football player. So one of the players in my team I'm really excited about. And then finally we got Tony, I guess as the 6.5 million enabler in many ways. I think he does look like probably the best 6.5 million option. As tempted as I am by Neil Maupay, I think I will perhaps leave Maupay for now and just go for Tony. Yeah, so 6.5 million, he's very highly owned, so there's no real risk here. Obviously, he scored so many goals last season, like 31 goals last season, which is absolutely ridiculous in the Championship. Typically, players, when they move to the Premier League from the Championship, they score about half the amount of goals they scored in the previous season. So if a Championship player managed to score 20 goals in the Championship, they will usually move to the Premier League and manage to score about 10 goals. If that's the case with Tony, then he's going to have a 15-goal season. But is that realistically going to happen? Probably not. Probably not going to have a 15-goal season. But for 6.5 million, if you own him at the right points, and the start of the season doesn't look too bad for Tony, if you can get a few goals in the opening 4 or 5 games, then I think you're happy with that for 6.5 million, and then we could just move on, transfer him into someone who is hitting form. That's what it's all about at the end of the day with these cheaper forwards. We just need to identify who's in form and keep switching to the new player in form. And obviously you can see here, guys, that there's a lot of flexibility for transfers. There's a player pretty much at every single price point. We've got expensive defender, we've got mid-price defender, we've got premium forward midfield. I can barely speak. We've got premium midfielder, we've got kind of almost premium midfielder in Son, and we've got some mid-price midfielders there in Greenwood and cheaper one in Bowen as well. And then forwards, we've kind of got the more expensive Ings and Wilson, and then a slightly cheaper Tony. So every price point is kind of covered, and then if you bring up the bench as well, you can see that we're covered there as well. Foster, 4 million, non-playing goalkeeper. We've actually changed things up a little bit. So first of all, obviously, Ayling is still on the bench. Omar Bamidele is still on the bench. Omar Bamidele might move if a player like Brandon Williams at Manchester United, if he gets a transfer to another Premier League club, then I think Brandon Williams will probably come into this bench instead. But for now, Omar Bamidele is absolutely fine there. Ayling as well. I do want to cover that Leeds defence, as they did improve their defence a lot at the end of last season. So, I do want that covered, ready for when Leeds' fixtures do look a bit better. But the MGW, for those of you who are not aware on the cool acronyms on this channel, stands for Morgan Gibbs White. A little bit out there, I did make a video on 4.5 million midfielders, and if you've watched that video, you'll know that I kind of identified Morgan Gibbs White as the 4.5 million midfielder that if he plays, he is by far the best 4.5 million midfielder. It's just a case of how much game time he's going to play. That's always been the question around him. But he's having an incredible pre-season, like a seriously incredible pre-season. He started 3 out of 5 games in pre-season. The 2 games he didn't start, he came off the bench and put in a good performance. I think at Wolves, they're really liking the look of him at the moment, and I wouldn't be surprised if he started a few games. I really wouldn't be surprised if he started a few games this season. And if he does well in the Premier League as well, he could be breaking through. I really do think that Morgan Gibbs White could have his breakthrough season. And for a 4.5 million midfielder who is unlikely to play anyway, he's if one of my players gets injured in the warm-up or something and can't play or gets rotated, then Luke Ayling's going to come in. Omobama Dele has the potential to come in as well. Morgan Gibbs-White, I may as well just go for a player who I think has the potential to do something incredible and get one step ahead of basically everyone else, because the last thing you guys want to be doing is transferring in a 4.5 million midfielder with your budget. You want to be using your transfers on the slightly more heavy hitting players, don't you? But yeah, we know that when Morgan Gibbs-White plays, he's incredible. So he is my surprise addition to this team, I suppose. But there we go, guys. Quickly on captains. Mo Salah is captain. No questions. And I'm going to give the vice-captain today to Danny Ings, because why not? Basically, why not? I'm not really sure who else to give it to be fair. I don't think we'll even have to worry about giving the vice-captain to anyone else. The only way that Salah's not going to play is if the game gets cancelled or something for whatever reason. So, we don't really expect that to happen. But, you could easily go for an Ings or a Wilson or someone like that. Might be kind of an interesting vice-captain, but it doesn't really matter, because we just really want to focus on the fact that Salah should be your captain, definitely for game week 1. And there we have it. That is the end of the video. If you enjoyed what you saw today, if you found it useful, please do leave a like, and also do subscribe as well if you want regular fantasy football content to help you beat your mates in your mini leagues. I'm going to do my best to help you out with some tips. Basically, do go check out Pouch if you quite fancy it. I definitely, there's no reason not to check out Pouch really. I'm straight on it, to be fair. And there we pretty much have it, guys. So thank you again for watching. I will see you tomorrow for more videos, maybe even try and do a double upload at some point over the weekend. The content has to keep going. We're so close to the deadline now. But yes, happy tinkering, guys, and I'll see you later, mates. Bye-bye.